This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and welcome to Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Werner. I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And it's a beautiful day in Florida. It's 80 degrees out, and I'm not going to ruin Ed's line, but Ed, how are you doing?
Happy Hot Friday.
Happy Hot Friday. On the way here, I was like, why am I burning up so bad? And I had my seat warmers on because it was cold a couple days. My biscuits were burning.
My thermostat read out, make up your mind.
I know, right? It was freezing just a couple days ago for me. I had something to say about that, but it was cold. It was down in like the 40s. And then all of a sudden now it's 80. It's just like my air conditioner actually broke 2 days ago because it's just like, can you figure out what you want to do with me? Turning me off and on. It's just crazy. Anyway, we have a great guest today, and it's a friend of mine. He's a member of the Moments of Clarity team. You might have seen him if you are on Facebook Live, commenting and helping along the show and with all the guests too. And he's an abuse survivor himself, and he's the first male blogger that has ever come out and blogged, and he's been doing it for 18 years on child-abuse-survivor.net, and he's got a wonderful blog. He's been doing it 18 years, first male blogger, and so much more. And I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity my friend Mike McBride.
Hello there.
Hi, Mike. Welcome on the show. First time, huh?
It is. A little nervous, but I'll be all right.
I'm sure you're not nervous. It's just me. No.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued by your history and how you've actually come this far and been this dedicated in helping others and heal and find hope after years of molestation. And if you don't mind, can we go to back to your past and what inspired you to do this?
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I kind of grew up a little chaotic childhood, to say the least. I grew up in a family where my dad was an alcoholic. I was being abused by other members of the family. Just a lot of stuff going on. And one of the quote unquote skills that I developed as a kid was the ability to dissociate. Mm-hmm. Right. Which is very common. A lot of child abuse survivors dissociate to various extents and whatever. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was more like this wasn't happening to me. I was just watching a movie, right? I was not mentally there. Which, when you're a kid, that is a very easy thing to fall into. It helps you kind of deal with what's happening. It helps you survive. Mm-hmm. When you're an adult, and that is how you handle stressful situations, and you have access to a car, this gets really dangerous, right?
Right.
So what happened was I had not told all that many people about what had happened. There were a few people who knew. I tried to go to therapy once, and the therapist and I didn't click. I didn't like it. I hated everything about it. No offense to the therapist, by the way.
No, but you got to find the one that fits you the right way. I mean, I don't like a lot of therapists, just personally.
Yeah,
sometimes those conventions that they force us to, we're kind of in a room, wow, this is helping everybody. But at the same time, there are some good ones out there.
There are. And in fairness, I think the person that I saw was a good therapist. It just, he was a male. And at that point in my life, every male authority figure had been bad to me, and I was just like, no.
Were you abused by a male?
Yes.
Yeah, so then that would make sense.
Yeah, so that didn't. So I got in my 20s. I was married. I was in a bad marriage. I was very stressed. Things weren't going well, and I started having dissociative episodes where I would literally just get in the car and disappear for weeks at a time and not remember anything. Right? I still, to this day, do not remember anything I did. And I'm okay with that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But that was sort of the tipping point that this can't go on. This was one of my moments of clarity.
It can't go on. Yeah. How old were you when you figured that out?
27.
Mm-hmm.
So, ultimately, what ended up happening was during one of those trips, I got very, very, very sick. Wound up in a hospital. Had to actually go back to my parents. Had to go back and living in my parents' house because I know to take care of myself. I was basically on bed rest for 6 months. Really wasn't, I couldn't go anywhere. But I had an internet connection. And this was late 90s. And I started kind of, I can't get out of the house. I don't have any way to reach out to anybody. Most of my friends were just like, whoa, dude, you're weird. Or I was in the process of getting divorced and they were my wife's friends. So, yeah, you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started looking online for stuff and started connecting with people. And there was some stuff out there. There were, a couple of forums, some email lists, and things like that.
This was in 2001?
This was late 90s.
Okay. Yeah, there really wasn't any resources out there back then, or not as many.
There were a few, put it that way. But I also realized that there were not a lot of people like me in those groups, right? And so, and again, this is not any sort of judgment, but it was heavily dominated by female survivors, heavily dominated by people who were addicts, and I had never been an addict, so I didn't really understand any of that. And I started realizing, and then I got back to work, got healthy, got back to work. I was working at an IT job, where I was working in a small office, and I was the only IT guy. And I attended a conference in 2001, and I saw this guy give a presentation about blogs. And I was like, I wonder if I could use that. And again, I'm in work mode at this point, so I'm thinking I should create a blog so I can talk about things that I don't get to talk about with anyone at work, right? Because I'm the only IT guy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I want to talk technology, there's nobody around, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started this blog about technology. I actually, at the time, named it Life of a One-Man IT Department. Right? I just started talking about tech, and I started reading other blogs about tech. And what happened was I realized that I could talk to all these people, I could interact with all these people. It was kind of like social media is now, but in 2001,
right?
Before we had Twitter and Facebook.
Right.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. And almost immediately, once I realized that I could do that for my job, I thought, you know what? I could do this for this other part of my life, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Especially, and one of the things that got me was that I started thinking back about a couple years ago when I was looking for stuff online. Yeah, there was some stuff, but it wasn't, it wasn't me. I didn't see me in there.
Right.
And so I started a blog, and basically the idea behind the blog was, in 2001, I want there to be somewhere online, right? If you're a late teens, early 20s guy who was sexually abused, I want you to be able to go to Google and find someone, something, right? That you can go, hey, I'm not the only one, right? I'm not alone in this. And then with the blog, of course, I could start following other people who were talking about this. I could start pointing to them. So I started kind of sharing a lot of information about other people dealing with mental health issues, dealing with child abuse. And basically, I've been doing that for 18 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it really.
How often do you post a blog?
So it's actually grown a little bit. I started out just sort of writing my own story, kind of sharing things every once in a while. Eventually, I got to the point where there are now actually 2 blogs at that site. There's the one where I talk about myself, and I talk about, I write really long posts about things I'm thinking or things that I've learned that I want to explain to somebody. And then there's another blog on there that's just called News and Reviews. And basically with that one is where I just start sharing interesting articles and book reviews and things like that. And those are very quick, short blog posts, so those are almost daily, where I just find an interesting study or something, and I make a comment on it and share it. Say, hey, go read about this. So between both of those things, it's pretty close to daily that I post something up there.
So daily, that's a lot. I want to welcome callers to call in, 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. If you know anything about child abuse, or you've have a story of your own, or you want to share or ask advice or give feedback, 866-826-1340. Call in. And it's getting close to our first break, so I'm going to actually take a break right now if we can, and then get into some of the things that, these things really help, and hopefully callers call in 866-826-1340, and we're going to go to our first break and get into some really interesting facts about how it affects the DNA and the damages that child abuse can do, like what Mike was saying, disassociative things, and 866-826-1340. We'll be right back with Moments of Clarity. Please stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name's Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today is a good friend of mine. He's on the Moments of Clarity team. He helps run the show, and he's got a very prominent and very extraordinary, but with a good light at the end of the tunnel story. And he's been helping people for 18 years as an advocate and a male that has been blogging since 2001. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Mike McBride.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hi, Mike. We have a caller waiting. We have Lucinda on the line. And Lucinda, thank you so much for calling in. Welcome to Moments of Clarity.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I actually just discovered you a couple weeks ago, and I'm really impressed with what you're doing, and I think it's important. I like the fact that, Mike, you're doing so great. I myself grew up in foster care and severely abused growing up, and wrote books about child abuse. Do you ever get to the point where people might make comments to you that you're so abused you don't know what abuse is? Do you ever face that, even though you're credentialed and you do blogging? Because that's what I face. I mean, Dr. Phil, they're getting ready to do an episode Monday and Tuesday, and they knew what kind of abuse I suffered growing up as a child. And all they kept saying was I was so abused that I didn't know what abuse is. But I went and I got 2 master's degrees and 12 credits away from a doctorate. I was contracted to write books on child abuse and my success, been married 26 years, never divorced. I have 6 children. But yet, supposedly, I was so severely abused that I possibly can't know what abuse is. Do you ever face that?
I would say that I have not heard that specific line. I have definitely heard things about, since I appear to be doing well now, I couldn't have been that abused. Or
I've been biting my tongue since this. I'm like, go ahead, answer this, Mike. But Lucinda, I got something to say about that too.
I've been told that. Definitely heard that. I have heard that. not for my